tool that helps you to manage your data and ETL pipelines in your Apache Spark-based data lake and/or data warehouse. Let me show you an example. Assuming we are a trading company and need to process the daily trading data, we have two pipelines. The first one import the daily trading data. The second one get the top 3 stocks by the daily trading volume. Obviously, the second pipeline depends on the first pipeline, since we won't be able to get the top 3 stocks before the trading data are completely imported. Here is how the trading data looks like. It's very simple. You have a type field, which tells whether it is a buy or sell. You have a symbol field, which tells the symbol of the stock. You have the amount field, which tells the amount of the share you buy or sell. You have the price field, which tells the price for each share. And you have a commission field. Okay, now let's create an application. This is an application that imports daily trading data. For the demo purpose, it generates some fake trading data. It is a PySpark application. So the application has already been published to the HDFS with this location. Let's save the application. Now let's create the 2 data sets. This is the daily trading data. This is the daily top 3 stock data. Well, if you click each of these data sets, you can see there's no instance because we haven't defined any pipeline yet. Let's create the pipelines. The first pipeline is importing the trading data. This pipeline does not require any data set. Let's add a task. Let's select Other and select our application that imported the data. The argument is a JSON object that is going to be passed to this application. You can see this spinning wheel. Every pipeline has a related Airflow DAG associated with it. When we create a DAG file, Airflow will take some time to pick up the DAG file. So let's just wait for the Airflow create the DAG. Okay, now you can click this icon to see the Airflow DAG. Let's create another pipeline. This pipeline is for getting the top 3 stocks. Obviously, this pipeline depends on the trading data. So we're going to put this path as the required dataset instance. The DT is part of the execution context. We'll talk about that later. And this is a Ginger template, which you can reference any execution context variables inside it. Now let's create a task. Let's call it get top picks. And this time we want to create an SQL task, which is execute bunch of SQL statements. Let's add a step let's call it get top picks. Since we are going to depend on the trading data, so let's call the trading data. Let's define the trading data as this pass. When you define the trading data to a dataset instance, you can reference it in your SQL statement, because now the tradings, this table, is going to be loaded from this pass. Well, we want to produce the output. We want to save the output to a Parquet file. Excuse me. So we're going to save the output in this location, and we're going to save it as a Parquet file. We're going to use the overwrite model. Excuse me. And we're going to publish this data set so other people can use this data set as well. So let's call this dataset top picks, because we just created that data set. Let's save it. Let's save it. And then let's save the change. Okay, now let's just go to the Airflow and hit refresh. Let's hit the refreshing. Okay, now ToDeck shows up in Airflow. Now let's create an execution. Normally, execution is created by the scheduler. For example, a scheduler creates execution hourly, daily, or weekly, etc. For demo purpose, we're going to create execution manually. Let's call it a test daily. The context is a JSON object that is shared by all the pipeline attached to this context. Now let's save this. Now let's click this execution. There's no pipeline attached to it because we created manually. Now let's attach to pipeline to it. Now you can see they are in the created status, but they're not being executed at all. The reason is when we create the pipeline, it is in paused status. So you need to unpause it and unpause it. Now let's go to the execution and look at the, you can see the input trading data has been started. Just wait for a while and wait for it to complete. Now you can see the top picks has been started while the import trading data has been finished. That is exactly the flow that we want. Now you can see both pipelines are finished. Let's go back to the data set and look at the tradings. Now you can see we have one instance showing up here. That is generated from the input pipeline. Now let's look at the other top picks. You can see it has 3 rows. That's because we get the top 3 stocks. And you can see there's one instance at this location. Now let's use the Jupyter Notebook to look at the data. So they are in Parquet format. The data has been ingested, looks pretty good. And let's look at the top 3 stock data and also being generated, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so you can see with this data manager, you can manage your data set and the pipeline pretty easily and very organized. I hope you like this tool and find it useful. Thank you. Bye-bye.